This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
Is it possible that Neal Brown could be coaching his very last season in Morgantown for the Mountaineers? And no, this is not a Fire Neal Brown video, so don't come at me about that. So what kind of video is it? Well, in this episode, which is brought to you in part by BetUS Online Sportsbook and Casino, I'm going to explain why it's possible it could be Neal Brown's last season in Morgantown. And we're going to talk about it right after this word from my other channel sponsor. Since 1931, the attorneys at Katz, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner have been the voice for victims who have suffered serious injury or death. They have a fierce passion for truth and justice and a sincere compassion for those who have been wronged by others. Whether you have been in a car accident or fighting with an insurance company, or you or a loved one has suffered serious injury or death due to medical negligence, we will ensure your voice is heard loud and clear. Katz, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner will ensure there is justice for all West Virginians because we are your lawyer, your voice. Visit us at yourlawyeryourvoice.com. What is up? Welcome into another edition of Couz's Corner. Come on in, make yourself comfortable, belly yourself up to the bar. I am your host, Couz, and we are serving up top shelf college football content here. If you like top shelf news and analysis about the West Virginia Mountaineers, the Big 12, or conference realignment, then this is the channel for you. So please subscribe if you haven't. Please press the like button if you like this video. And please drop a comment below and let me know why for yes, N for no, do you think this will be Neal Brown's last year in Morgantown? And like I said in the opening, this is not a Fire Neal Brown video. Now, there is a negative side to the conversation, and we'll get to that later. But first, I want to look at something that could actually happen that's positive that could lead to him leaving Morgantown. And that is, what if West Virginia has a great season? What if they win 9, 10, 11, 12 games? What if they make the CFP? What if they win the Big 12? What, there are all these different scenarios that could happen. And that makes Neal Brown an attractive coach for jobs in other conferences. Oh, I don't know, like the Big 10 or even more specifically, the SEC. Neal Brown grew up in Kentucky. It's his home state. So, yes, West Virginia, it's close to home for him. It's only one state away. He can be to his parents' house. I think he said it's like 4 hours away. So, yes, he is fairly close to home in West Virginia. But even closer to home would be the Kentucky Wildcats. And even though Kentucky, their football program is in a much better place than it was several years ago. Mark Stoops has done a great job there. But Mark Stoops does not seem like a happy coach. He's complained multiple times in interviews about the new era of college sports. He doesn't like the professionalization of the sport. He talks about how he spends too much time, trying to raise money. He doesn't get to spend enough time coaching, which is what he likes to do, yada, yada, yada. And he's not the only coach who's complained about it, but it just seems like he maybe complains about it more, or at least more loudly than others. He's gotten into it at times back when John Calipari was a basketball coach. They got in a little bit of a public spat about whether it's a basketball school or not a basketball school and all this stuff. So Mark Stoops doesn't seem like the happiest coach in the world to me. And I see a scenario where Mark Stoops does something similar to what Chip Kelly did, and he might even leave the head coaching job to go be a coordinator somewhere or go take a job in the NFL or whatever, just so he doesn't have to deal with the crap of being a head college football coach anymore. And if that Kentucky job comes open, Neal Brown, if he has another good season at West Virginia, there's a very good chance he would be one of the coaches at the top of their list. A, because it's home. B, he has experience there as an offensive coordinator, and he did well there as an offensive coordinator. And I'm telling you, Kentucky fans, at least the ones I've talked to, love Neal Brown and would love for him to coach the Wildcats at some point in the future, assuming he's successful. Now, he hasn't done enough yet at West Virginia, in my opinion, to win that job or to win a job like that or, to be, approached about a job like that, I guess would be the best way to put it. But I think he's in the process of doing so. I think he's built something great at West Virginia. I think he's in the process of getting them back to winning consistently. And let's face it, West Virginia's never going to be able to pay him SEC money, in my opinion. The SEC and Big 10 are at the top of the food chain when it comes to what they can pay coaches, how many coaches they can hire on their staff, the kind of facilities they can build, how much, money they'll be able to pay all that stuff. They're in a better spot. To me, it would be crazy for Neal Brown not to at least take the phone call if a school like Kentucky came calling. And let's not forget, Neal Brown came to West Virginia. He was hired by Shane Lyons and Gordon Gee. Well, Shane Lyons is gone. Wren Baker's in. Now, it seems like Neal and Wren are on the same page. It seems like they get along well, and Neal likes working for Wren. But, we don't ever know truly behind the scenes how they feel. And it's my understanding that Neal Brown had something in his original contract where if Lyons and or Gee left, he would be able to leave without a buyout. Now, I don't know. He got an extension this past offseason. And there were some tweaks made to his contract. I'm not sure if that language is still in there or not. If you do know, let me know in the comment section. But with Wren there, and let's not forget, Gordon Gee is set to retire in 2025 as president of West Virginia University. So he would have both of the people who hired him would be gone. And who knows? Whoever they hire to be the new president, what if they don't get along with Coach Brown? Or what if he doesn't like the hire? Or what if Wren doesn't like it and Wren leaves? I mean, there's so many things that could happen in the next year that could impact that. Now, I know it's all what ifs, and I know a lot of you are going to want to focus on football, but I felt like I needed to get this video out because it's been weighing on me. Something I really want to get off my chest. And I also recommend, once you're done with this video, I recommend you go check out Carson Fox's video he did. He touched on this in his last video over on his channel, Fox on West Virginia Mountaineer Sports. Now, before we get to talking about the negative reason as to why Neal Brown could leave or not be the coach at West Virginia anymore, I'll explain why this even came up in my head, why I got the idea for this topic. And it's because the odds came out of the coaches who were more likely to get fired or most likely to get fired after during or after the 2024 season. And let's go over to the BetUS Sportsbook real quick and take a look at the odds. Neal Brown is actually 11th on the list right here. You see plus 1,600 odds that Neal Brown gets fired as the first coach to be fired. That's actually higher than what I thought it would be. He's ahead of people like Shane Beamer at South Carolina. Well, he's actually tied with Shane Beamer. He's tied with Shane Beamer, Tony Elliott at Virginia, who's not done a good job so far, and Mike Locksley at Maryland. Better odds than Dabo Swinney at Clemson, which kind of makes sense. Lincoln Riley at USC, which makes sense. Brent Venables and Deion Sanders. Now, the Deion Sanders one, now you might could debate, but plus 1,600 is higher odds than I ever thought, considering he just got a one-year extension. And I've heard other podcasters out there say, well, he only got that extension because, they didn't give him a choice because they cut his pay and yada, yada. Neal Brown voluntarily took a pay cut. It was his idea, folks. It was Neal Brown's idea to take a pay cut so he could pay his staff more money. It's not because Wren Baker and the administration doesn't think highly of Neal Brown, but somebody knows something in Vegas because the plus 1,600 odds, again, higher than I thought. So what if West Virginia, Vegas also has them at 6.5 wins on the year. What if West Virginia has a bad season? And by the way, if you want to bet on this, use the BetUS link in my description box. Check it out there or in the pinned comment below. And BetUS does have a deal right now where you get 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. If you want to take advantage of that and you like these odds and you want to place this bet, go ahead. Do that. And you can also bet on the 6.5 win total. You can bet on the Penn State game. There's a lot of things you can bet on. But if you do decide to bet, please do so responsibly. And remember, you must be 18 years of age or older. Now, but back to the topic at hand. What if West Virginia goes out here and has, a bad season? What if they hit under that 6.5 win total? What if they only win 5 or 6 games? What if they miss a bowl game? What if they're not in the Big 12 title picture in November? Does that make Wren Baker decide to go a new direction? Very possible. I don't think it's likely, but I do think it's possible. With the schedule West Virginia has to play this year, they have that 5-game stretch where they play, and it's not in this order necessarily, but they play Kansas, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, Kansas State, Arizona in a row. What if they drop 3 or 4 of those games? What if they, on top of that, have the Penn State loss on their record? That wouldn't be a good start to the season. And could it go downhill from there? Again, I don't think it's likely that this happens. I think, in my opinion, the floor for West Virginia is 7 wins. I think they're that talented. Even with that schedule, I think the floor is 7 wins. And 7 wins is not getting Neal Brown fired, in my opinion. Most fans would look at it as a regression because of the win-loss record. But I don't think he gets fired. West Virginia is not the type of school that can just afford to fire coaches and pay buyouts, especially with this house settlement looming down the road where they're going to have to start paying their athletes $20+ million a year in revenue sharing. West Virginia can't afford to pay 2 coaches at once. So I think the actually scenario, the one I mentioned first, where he could leave for a better job, I think that's a more likely scenario than this one. I'm not saying, and I wouldn't even put high odds on that happening, but I think it's much more likely than this, because I don't see Neal Brown getting fired, because I don't think West Virginia is going to be that bad of a football team. Now, I could be totally wrong, and if you think I'm wrong, don't be afraid to let me know in the comments, or if you think I'm right, let me know that too. Also, you can hit the thumbs up button if you think this video kicks major butt. Okay, do that for me. I want to give a shout out real quick to my VIP members of this episode: Cody Cutright, Brad Cheney, Jeremy Croy, Vernon, Sheldon Witter. 4 longtime members of the channel here, paid members. If you want to be a paid member for either $2.99 a month or $4.99 a month, hit the join button below, or go to my channel homepage. There's a join button right beside my sexy profile photo. Go hit it. Take advantage of the perks like the shout outs. Sometimes I give early access to videos with limited ads, things like that. If you want to take advantage, it's also an easy way to support what I do here, help me keep the lights on. Speaking of keeping the lights on, I want to give another shout out to my channel sponsors, BetUS Sportsbook Online, BetUS Online Sportsbook and Casino. Also, Katz, Gander, Stone Street, and Buckner, who are licensed personal injury and medical malpractice attorneys in the state of West Virginia and Virginia. Call them if you need them. I really appreciate you watching this video. There's another one you can watch right here in the corner of your screen. Please watch that one too. You might just like it. Have a top shelf day, and cue Country Roads.